All right, we're live.
Welcome back to the SCIF. This is the Green Beret Life. I am Matt. That's Stu. We are a 501c3. Go check out our website. It is TheGreenBeretLife.com. We do training. If you have any training in mind, it's based around pistol, rifle, shotgun. We also do some other things in the outdoors, survival, situational awareness, land navigation. We can do a bunch of things. If you got an idea and you got a group of people together and you need us to come to you, if you got enough people, we can do this. So go check out our website. If you want to email us, if you want to ask us any questions on anything, training, military, anything like that, Stu's got it up there. It's TheGreenBeretLife@gmail.com. Okay. And don't feel silly. If you have a question, if you're a kid thinking about going into the military, if you're an adult thinking about going into the military, you have a question, we'll shoot you straight. In fact, we're going to have a little bit different of a show tonight. We're going to talk about some of our MOSs that we had. I had specific MOS in the Army. I had two of them. Stu had two MOSs in the Air Force. So we're going to talk about those a little bit tonight. We did have a request that we should talk about some more military stuff since we're so heavily military tied. We're going to hit a few stories tonight too. We're going to talk about a few things. Stu has a few stories. One of our longtime watchers, Kathy, sent us a story. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. But I think we're going to hit mostly tonight. We're going to try to spend most of the time going through the military MOSs. And it's just to give people an idea of what it's like, what the possibilities are out there, and what our experiences were with these MOSs. So I thought it might be an interesting show. We have had the request, and we'll put it forward. What are some of the stories that we do have besides military MOS, Stu?
Well, like you said, Kathy sent us a story concerning the three liberal Supreme Court justices recusing themselves, which they kind of have to because they're the subject of the lawsuit that's being brought before them, for failing to really give the individuals that brought the suit against the election and the way with the Texas suit that basically came in saying, hey, these other states aren't abiding by their own laws, therefore they're disenfranchising Texas voters because they're not following their own laws when it comes to the election. And it was not, the Supreme Court did not take it up, and so they're looking at that lawsuit. Hunter Biden has. Matt, can you turn your speakers down a little bit? I'm getting feedback from your end.
Sure.
Hunter Biden has had his last minute bid to stop his gun crime case from going forward, and you'll love that he's protesting that this lawsuit infringes upon his Second Amendment right. So it's great that Hunter's is so worried about his Second Amendment rights and everything like that with his father's
Stu, you still getting feedback?
A little bit, yeah. I don't know why it's looping back.
That's odd.
That.
Okay.
Let me turn mine down to see. And we've got the $300+ million pier that we built to take into Gaza to bring in relief aid. It's been in operation for about 2 weeks, cost $320 million until the waves got too high and kind of broke it up, and it's now going to have to be hauled off and be in dock for another couple of weeks in Israel to be repaired for at another probably $100 to $200 million, and then hauled back into place to do nothing.
Where, Stu?
In Israel is where it's going to be hauled.
Is it in Israel or is it in Israel?
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
I'm speaking the Lord's English down here. I don't know what they taught you in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And speaking of Georgia, where we speak the Lord's English, or the Queen's English, what is it? I don't know.
Oh boy. Gutter English.
Over 500 illegal aliens were arrested in April in Georgia for various crimes, including some fairly heinous stuff. we're gonna talk
Fairly
about
what?
that, and then kind of a
Stu,
semi-associated story.
fairly what?
Heinous,
Okay.
heinous activity.
Okay. My volume's turned down. I can't hear shit. That's why I heard something.
Well, turn your hearing aids up. Might help.
Yeah.
But and that's it. And like Matt said, we're gonna talk about our the different jobs that we did in the military. Like Matt said, he had two MOSs in the Army, and I had two different career fields in the Air Force. We call them an AFSC, um, and Army calls theirs MOSs, but it's all just a code for whatever job it is that you're doing. But we're going to talk about get some time talking about those and just different things and nonsense and good times that we had when we were in doing things we probably shouldn't have. Just 90% of the time you're screwing off, and the other 10% you're working, but you got to keep yourself entertained. But was there anything that you wanted to bring up on YouTube to talk about? Was there a particular story that you wanted to
That's
bring up
right.
first?
We're on YouTube. We are on Rumble.
Yeah.
We're on Odysee. Everybody knows the whole story. I say it every time. We're here
Well, we
to
think
try
we're on
to
Odysee. I don't know. The site's acting up for me. I can't see it. I've not been able to get anything to load. I did publish it to Odysee, but I can't confirm or that it's active or not.
Well, we're for sure on Rumble. So please, if you're here on YouTube and you're watching, thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. YouTube has proven that they will do anything to destroy stations or channels that don't toe the line, and you just can't speak freely here. So we're trying to encourage everybody to come over and join us at Rumble. And if you'd be so kind, I think we have a link down below. Do we have a link below, Stu?
There is a link to the show in the description below on YouTube. That'll take you directly to the show on Rumble.
So please, if you haven't already, join us over at Rumble and give us a thumbs up and a like and all of that nice stuff. And then Fire, I think, is on Odysee. There's a little flame thing, right?
Yeah, Fire's on Odysee.
I think they call it a flamer. Is that what they call it?
You would know more about that than me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna defer to your vast experience.
Generally speaking, that is the case. I seem to know more about just about everything than you do. But I kid. So yeah, let's talk. Let's hit a couple of the stories here, and let's just let her fly.
All right. Well. Since we can talk about it now on YouTube, probably the safest one is going to be the story that Kathy sent in concerning that. This is yours. You want to take this one away?
Sure.
And I'll
there's let me open this up and I'll have Stu scroll the article down. Basically, there's an individual that has brought one of the things that I like about this, it's not really going anywhere, okay? But I love the energy. This is the energy that we all need to have, okay? So there's an individual named Raylan J. Brunson of Ogden, Utah, and he's brought a number of lawsuits, okay, that have made their way up to the Supreme Court. And the one we're talking about here is Brunson versus Sotomayor. So basically, he's basically saying that his rights and First Amendment rights to free and fair elections have been violated because none of this was investigated in 2020. And I don't know if we really can talk about this, but we're going to try to skirt around it
now. I believe you can.
A little bit.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out. So anyways, basically he's made it up to the Supreme Court. It turns out that the lower courts kept on saying we don't have standing, bumping it up. Then it gets to the Supreme Court, and basically it falls under that you basically cannot sue the federal government without permission of the federal government, for lack of a better term. But when this finally got to the Supreme Court here, the three liberal justices, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan, all three recused themselves, which is interesting that they did recuse themselves on this.
Well, I think they kind of have to, Matt, just because it's kind of the standard. Because again, they can't necessarily sit in judgment on a case that they're being sued over.
But it is interesting that it got to this place, even though they really don't give much information as they've turned it down along the way, right? So I love the energy, and I'm glad this Raylan J. Brunson is bringing these lawsuits, because that whole thing was shoved under the rug. Everything. There was plenty of stuff, and it gives the ammunition for the mainstream media to say there was no evidence of anything. Now I'm skirting around the outskirts of this here because we're on YouTube, but there was no evidence of anything, and there most certainly was. I mean, there's no question. So things definitely needed to be investigated, and the fact that even just drop boxes were only put in heavily Democrat, like 90% Democrat parts of the country and nowhere else. That's not right. That needed to be investigated, and that's unconstitutional. So there's been many things that you could argue about in that, and it was never looked into. And I think this is the problem. And right now in the case, you can see them going after Alito because his wife flew a couple patriotic flags that the left is trying to blow out of proportion. The propagandist media is trying to blow it out of proportion. An upside down American flag means the United States is in distress.
Yeah, that's a
long-standing symbol. And then there are other flags that were used during the George Washington time. There's the pine flag that they were putting up, and it said pointing towards heaven, right? That these are all patriotic flags, yet the propagandist mainstream media are trying to prey, and I say that, prey on ignorant people that don't understand our history or what these flags mean.
Well, the thing that's funny about that, Matt, is you can tell how desperate they're getting for anything, because they've had these pictures, they've known this for years, and it wasn't an issue. Because all this happened. These pictures, unless I'm mistaken, these pictures
you're correct. They're old.
Right.
The pictures are old.
These pictures are from years ago, right after the election. Not a big deal, not newsworthy, not anything, whatever. Now here it is, 3 years later, when they're as desperate as they can possibly be for anything to make a headline, anything to turn a vote, they're bringing up the fact that this man's wife flew a flag that they didn't like. That's how desperate they are.
Well, it's funny the timing of all of this, because a few months ago they were going after Justice Thomas, right? Now they're going after Justice Alito. These are the two most base Supreme Court justices we have. These are by far the best Supreme Court justices we have. And they're trying to get him to recuse himself. He's like, I'm not recusing myself. Sorry. Next. Right?
Yeah.
And my problem is when the left attacks like this, the right should be rabid in defending. You know what I mean? Everybody should be rallying around Justice Thomas and Justice Alito and defending and basically making the left look foolish, kind of like those patriotic New Yorkers did yesterday when
De
Niro shows up with these two cops that have proven that they stretch the truth about
with his pre-approved script to read.
Correct. Standing back there so everybody can see all his tattoos, acting like he's hard. Okay. It was the most pathetic and cringe thing.
80-year-old man that needs a walker. It's like, dude, you're not hard.
I'm talking about the two Capitol Police behind him, the ones that have gotten book deals and run for Congress and everything else. Yeah. And it turns out that they had to have stretched the truth, right? So one of the people standing around basically points and says, those two cops behind you are both liars, and they lied under oath. And it was so funny because he just melts down. Then you hear the background. Somebody set off a car alarm while he was speaking. It's so absolutely pathetic. They look
weren't people screaming or just yelling FJB at him?
Oh yeah. They hold the campaign holds a rally across from the the trial going on, this
But it's
sham
not
of a
political,
trial.
Matt. This
Oh
isn't
yeah,
political at all. It's not.
yeah, and get ready for that whole deal. Get ready for that. There's going to have to be a review. It's definitely going to get overturned, but there's going to have to
Oh
be a
yeah.
review of this after everything is said and done, because
Oh,
there are
there's going to
so
be
many things wrong with this.
there's no way that this can't be appealed just from the behavior that the judges allowed. Even in the closing arguments, everything the defense was trying to put up,
They couldn't put up.
the objections from the prosecutor being sustained when the prosecutor's up there and the defense is, raising objections, they're all overruled. It's just
They wouldn't
I'm
let them
sorry,
bring
it doesn't
experts on that would tell people to explain how the law works and how there's not been a crime committed here. And on top of that, he gives some orders today, which I don't know how this is even possible. Gives some orders that they don't have to be unanimous.
Wait, what?
Yes, he gave orders today that they do not have to be unanimous on the charges.
I did not hear that. How in the hell? I'm sorry. I thought that was the whole point of.
Don't understand the whole direction of it. Everybody's been talking about it. Nobody's really explained it in detail because I think people are confused.
I missed that completely.
This whole thing needs to be investigated. The daughter running some business, apparently, allegedly from the home, where they're getting millions and millions of dollars.
Oh yeah,
a lot of it coming in from sitting congressmen and senators and whatnot, allegedly, right?
Yep,
Something is really wrong. Yeah. So that's what's going on. This is interesting. I love the energy from Mr. Brunson in this case. I'm glad Kathy sent this to us. I'm sure there's more to this story, but you need to push back, and they're relying on you out there not to push back, right? And I'm not saying we're the side of the rule of law. You do everything legally, and what he's doing is right. So this is how you fight back. You make them, you keep it in the news, okay? You make them fight it, even though the mainstream media is going to cover it up, right? You make them fight it, and you keep it out there. So I like it. What's the next thing? Should we switch over to Rumble now and then continue on with the other stories?
Yeah, we can, but I just wanted to reiterate again, thank you, Kathy, for sending that in, and the rest of you out there, any stories that you come across, send them to us, because we have limited time frame. We both, work and have our own lives, and we try and do this on the side. We try and stay up to date on things, but as Matt was just talking with these orders that the judge put out, there are things that we miss. We can't catch everything, and the more people we have looking, the more things we can see. So anything that you find,
there's two other odd stories out there right now that some people have sent us that we can't find more information on it. One is an explosion at, I believe, a Huntington bank in Ohio that nobody seemed to be talking about, right? That turned up on Twitter, right, or X. And the other is a battery factory. There's some weird something going on with a EV battery factory in California. That's all I have right now. I can't find more information. If you guys have any more information on anything that I'm talking about here, you're like, wait, I know what this is. Send it to us. And if anybody has information on, this week, Vista announced that they're not going to be fulfilling powder orders anymore. And we all know what's going on with Vista, and there's been no news on this new offer that was better than the offer from the foreign entity, right?
Wow.
And there's been no news on that yet. This is like 50 to 60% of our ammo production, folks. So anybody has news on this? Because there's nothing out there that I can find.
Well, we can move over to Rumble and Odysee exclusively and ditch YouTube here. Matt pointed out earlier, there is a link below that'll take you directly to the Rumble channel. So come on over there and we'll continue the story. And this time, Matt, I'm only going to dump us off of YouTube. I'm not going to kill the stream.
Oh yeah, you're not going to frag us all.
No, I'm not. I'm not.